Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a new 5v5 season, and I know most of you like 5v5 more than 3v3, so let's get ready for the season and plan out which teams are going to be good on offense, which are good on defense, or which could go either way. And I am in Kyber 1, and this is basically a Kyber focused video. I mean, a lot of smaller middle counts won't have the same problems we do, and they'll be using a lot more basic teams, but this is more focused on the cutting edge of what's going on right now, especially with the Datacron landscape. So without further ado, let's start with offensive squads. And here we are. So at the top, I usually like to go over Galactic Legends, and of course Galactic Legends are very flexible. I have a couple iterations of Slicker shown here. The first one is just kind of more of a generalist approach. Like you could go full First Order. We don't have Darkside Ray yet, but you could go full First Order, or you could add Armorer and Geonosian Brute Alpha armor to get those 2 or 3 stacks of Beskar and Geonosian Brute Alpha because he has a disposable tank that pre-taunts and can take the hits, hopefully falling under half health, to get an extra stack of Beskar ingot to pass over to Slicker. This is more applicable for like a Leia team. That's going to be more of your go-to counter, especially without like those double attacking attacker crons. You're going to need some kind of help for Slicker to take out Leia. This one, though, I see being a little bit more applicable. This seems to be a good answer to Great Mothers with the Great Mothers Cron, which a lot of players are facing. A lot of people have Great Mothers Cron up in Kyber. Basically, you want Springlair Kylo Zombie with the Zombie Datacron, level 9. You want Marin. The other two, I don't know if it's as important. I have Old Daka and Mother Talisman, but you want some Night Sisters, and you want the wordy level 6. Or no, not the wordy level 6. You want the damage, like the extra damage, the 10% damage. Let me just go to my Datacron that I'm going to be using for it. So, Zombie, no, that's in this set. So, Zombie, where are you? Okay, this one, yeah. Bonus 10% damage. The level 3, you're just trying to avoid turn meter, and then you have the Zombie Cron. So that is going to be hopefully good for Great Mothers. Jedi Knight Luke, or Jedi Master Luke. So I do not like Jedi Master Luke on defense. Even with Ezra, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. Cal is notoriously stupid on defense. He doesn't know what he's doing. He does the same stance over and over again. So I think this is more of an offensive-only team. However, with Ezra, it seems to be significantly better. So this might even be, I don't know if it'll be an answer to JMK Plo, but I have beaten JMK Plo in Arena with this team. I call it Jedi Knights because it's all the really strong legendary Jedi assistants, Luke, Revan, Cal. So you're going to get a lot done with this. I recommend, if you have some Omicrons on Ezra, that helps, but they're not totally necessary. So there's a couple landing spots for Ezra, and this is one of them. And I think this will be an easy way to beat Lord Vader, and then Leia is kind of iffy because Ezra's a support, but you could use JML for Leia if you just use no supports. So Sith Eternal, I put speed up just because it'd be kind of nice to have speed up. You could also go for like, I don't know, that health up, health steal up for dark side. There's not too many good dark side mechanics. You could also go for the bulkiness. But Armor, Watt, it's kind of the normal supporting cast for Sith Eternal, or you use them solo. I like to use them solo against a, higher level A tier team, but not like crazy S tier, like a newer team, like Gas, Malicos, or Malgus. You can probably get it done with solo, but, be careful. Lord Vader, I am putting him offense only. I think that just with Bo-Katan, it's too easy to counter him, and he doesn't have as much of a boost to help out. So Maul has a Datacron, yes, that's nice. But if he dies and comes back, he has no Anguish stacks. So it's kind of like, it's a better tool to use on offense. So you bring this with you, you might be able to beat a Jabba. That's probably going to be my plan for it. Maybe an outside shot at a JMK if it's not a Plo JMK. Great Mothers, probably without Great Mothers Cron, you can do it. But yeah, I like Vader in there. I mean, Maul and Royal Guard are kind of core. Vader, I just think helps. He really helps get extra stacks of Underestimated, and Piet is there to mark if you're not using Imperial Troopers normally. Bane, I mean, this is kind of a standard go-to Bane at this point, and The add-on varies. I mean, if you have a high relic Talon or Assassin, that's fine. Dooku, if you have him on offense, he's good too. Because just be careful with who you're using with what, because sometimes you want a pre-taunting tank. I think in the case of Riva, you want the pre-taunting tank. And then sometimes with Queen Amidala, you just want someone that'll die fast. But make sure you have a lot of health on him to take out Queen Amidala. Because it is 5v5, and then 3v3 he has a hard enough time anyway. But yeah. Afra, you know, I have Darth Vader here too. It's just an option. I think this is one of the stronger lineups. So you have B2, because Grievous is becoming less valuable from my standpoint in Kyber 1. And like, you know, Kyber 2 is basically Kyber 1, like what Kyber 1 used to be. There's so many people in Kyber 2 that should be Kyber 1 that are Kyber 1 quality. And I think for all of us, Grievous is becoming less important. So B2 is not too expensive to tear away. Vader helps as well, and of course BT. This is more like a Jabba cleanup, you know, a Zori team. There's not too much I'm trusting it on, but Afra is a mercenary, so try to use a mercenary Kron, maybe a stun Kron, if you have it. So there's two options with Luthen. I think you can put Luthen either with Mon Mothma or Saw, and I don't know how well Saw can hold up without Luthen. I mean, Luthen is great, and it's tough because we still have the Pal Kron, but we also have Luthen Kron. If you put him with Saw, I think you kind of want Luthen Kron. With Mon Mothma, the Pal Kron for sure. Luthen's kind of a supporting role there, but you want Hoth Rebel Scout and Kyle Katarn and Pal. And you can beat Leia with this. I don't know if I'll have the nerve to try that, but you could beat stuff with this. It's kind of a crazy team, especially with that assisting massive damage. Maul, so this, for me, last 5v5 season, I believe I brought Lord Vader and Maul in offense a lot, and I was able to win with Lord Vader a lot without Maul, so this was kind of like a JMK cleanup for me. Now, I don't know what you can or cannot beat easily with this, or like consistently, but whenever I look in the stats for what Maul does on offense, even with ISC and GAR, it's a mixed bag, so you need a good ISC and a good GAR. I have them at bare minimum Relic 3, so I don't use this as much, but might be helpful for you. This one, so Riva, it's a maybe. I mean, they have the Great Inquisitor Kron and a good level 6, but I was able to beat that in TW with a team like this. L3 is interchangeable, just a pre-taunt, but you need Sabine, you need Chopper, you need Rex. Grand Inquisitor Kron definitely does make it a lot harder because it has that damage immunity when anyone dies, and then you can only damage Riva, but it's kind of like a more last resort in my opinion. Standard CLS, have like an Ufu Kron maybe, or just like speed up from the older set. But Luke's the only online force user on the team. Han is a mercenary. The rest are not mercenaries. I think you can cannibalize this team at this point. If you want to throw Luke with other Ufus, you kind of go for it. Han and Chewie, you want to put them somewhere else, that's fine. If you want to make a full mercenary team, that's fine. C-3PO, I think you can cannibalize this team at some point, but it is valuable if you just need to get out in front. I hate to say how many cleanup teams I have on here that used to be kind of mainstays, but that's kind of how it is right now. Bad Batch, they don't really have an applicable level 6 mechanic or level 9 or anything, but I think speed up is good for them on basic. But you can also take Echo with Queen Amidala, because that's what we do now. We take characters from whole teams and put them onto other teams, because we have too many teams for the board. Wampa, this is old. This, like, we don't have the attacker Kron anymore, but you know, Wampa is just kind of a cleanup. Night Sisters, you know, I don't have the bravery to try it against Jabba, but if you do, you know, you kind of want a weaker team. You want more health on them, not protection. But, well, for Marin, you want a lot of protection and tenacity, and the others you want health. You want them to die. Crit damage modding helps too, but otherwise, there's, you know, they have some Krons. I think my value for them will be taking out Great Mother's Kron, hopefully. But otherwise, there's not too much value right now. Geonosians, this is more of a nod to not put them on defense. I mean, they're good for raid cleanup. I think the value now is Geonosian Brute Alpha. I mean, GAC, they're basically null. Troopers, you know, I have Moff Gideon there, but probably not using Moff Gideon here at this point. But Jabba cleanup is, in my mind, what troopers are best for in Kyber, which is sad, but it is what it is. Then Iden, you know, it's hard to split. This is kind of like a split you could have even with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Stormtrooper might be an exception there. You might have Stark or someone else. But it's getting harder to split with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. There's Enoch, and they all kind of want the good Imperial Troopers / Imperial Remnants. For me, I don't really use Iden that much anymore in 5v5. And Tuskens, you know, these Tuskens and Grievous, they're not the worst 5v5 teams. That's not why they're at the bottom. But they are more of cleanup options now, or like last resorts. Tuskens, I mean, against turn meter trained teams only, but like most of the newer crazy teams that we're seeing played on defense are not easily shut down by Tuskens. But yeah, I don't know. It's sad to see how many good teams are like cleanups now. Grievous, you know, with Stap Omicron, I think is the most value. And I did have V2 with Afra, but it just depends. I'm bringing this on offense. I'm not really trusting it on defense right now. But if you do, I would use the bulky Kron, so 15% health and protection for each dark side ally. Then maybe get a lot of health and potency on that Kron. But that is it for offensive squads. Now defense, and there's a lot fewer defenses judging by the size of this scroll bar. And just compare that to offense. These are teams I think are probably good enough on defense that justify primarily placing them there. Rey's the only galactic legend I'm labeling that with now. But you know, Ezra, Cal, and Ben are going to create an annoying combo. I have Jedi training Rey here too because he's a Nufu, but I think if you have Radis, you know, it kind of gets annoying with all the foresight and triggering taunts and just to have a taunting tank. So Holdo is kind of an option there. I do think Ufu level 6 probably the best thing because most of the team is Ufus, but Ezra is a Jedi, so if you have a stun Datacron with you know, the speed up on the level 3 or something, it's worth a shot too. If you don't have Ezra, which plenty of people wouldn't, I think a good combo would be Sortie and L3 with spare parts, which could be very annoying, or the Sortie Kron, which gives out spare parts constantly. So that could be really annoying, and then just Ben or Rey. You could have Cal in there too if you wanted, but or even Ezra. I mean, Ezra could fit here as well, but yeah, just but I think I don't know. If you do have Ezra, it's better to go with Fukron, but this is just an option. So I already was talking about Luthen. Luthen, where you decide to use him is going to be pretty impactful. I probably will lean towards defense more, putting him with Saul and Kyle, and Baze and Chirrut are the ones I put here just because they work pretty well together. I mean, the Terminator game from Baze, and he's a tank, and Luthen Kron for sure on this, because Pow doesn't work as well because you're not calling Pow to assist all the time. But just for a Saul team, Luthen Kron should be standard, and it'll be a pretty tough team to deal with. Queen Amidala, this is like every season since we've had her, there's been at least one Kron that really supercharges them. I mean, the Master Qui-Gon Kron is great. The stun level 6 is good. I think Shakti and Echo is pretty much the go-to at this point. Shakti is great with her gaining turn meter, and having another clone there helps. Echo's going to take all the buffs away, and it just a fantastic team. So I say defense. They can do a lot on offense, but I think it's just kind of forcing your opponent to use Bane here, and you could even beat that Bane. So Finn Zori, this is nothing special anymore. It's not like blowing anyone's mind, but I think it is still a staple defensive team, and I have gotten holds with it. So I think you keep using Zori. Resistance Hero Bros under Finn lead, and then Rose Tico if you have the Omicron to use her. Otherwise, probably use Poe. And then for the Separatists, I do think if you have Watt and like a Django Kron, Mercenary Kron with bulkiness on the level 3, so 15% health and protection, a lot of potency maybe, a lot of protection, it could be a still viable defensive team. So I'd encourage people to try to get a Django Cross high on the priority list, but have 15% health and protection, bonus on the level 3, lots of potency and stun maybe. So, and then this for Galactic Republic Jedi, I think in Grand Arena, you definitely want Qui-Gon. You don't want to run Keller and Beck. Mainly because they fixed that infinite turn meter loop. If they had the infinite turn meter loop, then I think this would be, more valuable. But I think you have the core 3 Qui-Gon, Anakin, and Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Eth Koth. And then if you do have Plo Koon Kron, it frees up General Kenobi. I think General Kenobi's better here than Mace, just because he's a more solid tank. And he does give out Foresight on his basic. He gives it a lot. So, and he can give Retribution to the whole team, which will give out Foresight even more. So I think Kenobi is solid. This team, I think it'll get some holds or surprise some people, or just they're really going to have to account for it. And then this dash, so this is something I was kind of cooking up. It seemed like a good idea. Probably the most expensive add-on here is Mandalorian Beskar Armor, and you don't necessarily need him instead. But Dash, Hondo Kron, I think Merc Stunning is going to be great. Han is a mercenary. L3 is a mercenary. You want her there as a tank. Let's just look at mercenaries. I mean, there's a few options. I mean, Cal, I don't think it makes a ton of sense if you're putting them on defense. Dengar instead of Hondo Kron, that would make it really annoying. But these are kind of the best mercenaries you're gonna get that fit well under Dash. So they're all scoundrels as well. They're all scoundrels and mercenaries. So yeah, I think this could catch people off guard because they're all making use of the mercenary level 6. And then this last one here, Sortie, this could just be annoying. I don't know how many people have Hu Yang. I mean, plenty of people force themselves to get it for all these episode quests. But I think if you have the Sortie Kron, you maybe put Sortie, BB-8, T3, Hu Yang, and BT. I put BT1 here just because that's a lot more bite to the team. But I think if you put Lobot, maybe it could be annoying too. But if you really want to scare people, I think BT1 for sure. And that is it for defensive squads. There are not too many here. The most are in Flex, which is more the cream of the crop. And at the top of the list, of course, we have JMK. And this is what I've been running with Plo Koon Kron, Padme in there. But the two Ahsokas are indispensable. Plo Koon's indispensable, and Padme is just kind of a nice add-on too. If you want to add another Jedi, that works too, because you can take advantage of the stun level 6 if you have that. Tank Revive for sure is better. For a mirror, it's better. If you want to place on defense, you probably need the Tank Revive. If you're going on offense, Speed Up is great. I mean, if you're taking them against a team where you don't think Plo Koon will die once, Speed Up is great. Leia, super valuable. I think, Drogon, R2, of course. Tank Revive, level 3 is great. I think this is a potential spot for POW, just for all the stat boosts he gives to everyone. But if you don't go POW, I would run Kanan and Old Ben, or maybe Han and Chewie. Just something more annoying there, but it's viable on offense or defense. Jabba, I think Mercenary Stun, maybe health and protection boost. The Dark Side Tank Revive isn't really doing too much because Chrysanthemum comes back anyway. Maybe extra potency, extra protection. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do on defense, but Mercenary Stun is kind of like my initial recommendation, but who knows. Balin Skull, I am not someone that has the privilege of owning this guy, but he's going to be crazy, especially with his own Datacron. But I mean, that's like, people had to whale out significantly to get him, so I don't know. Those people, do those people need my advice? I'm not sure. I put Dash and Han here just because that's probably the most annoying combo you could have. Han attacking first is just so annoying for any team, and the fact that he's a mercenary and fits in, it's great. Same with Dash. I mean, he's got a lot of bonuses. I don't know if he's Scoundrel allies gain 20% max health, potency, and offense. I don't know if these others are Scoundrel. Yeah, they're not Scoundrels. Okay. He's giving himself and Han a boost there. So I don't know. The fourth and fifth, kind of a variable. Seer Malicos. I think the bonus turn level 6 is a great option here because Malicos would just go on a killing spree. But the wordy one also has play. I don't like the Malicos level 9. I think you want to avoid it. Otherwise, it's just kind of a standard Malicos lineup for the season. But the Ufu stuff going to make them a lot better. The wordy stuff kind of kicks in earlier, and then the bonus turn, Malicos, like I said, he'll go on a killing spree. Not sure what I want to use this for specifically. Riva is probably a good use for it, but we'll see. Bo-Katan, I like speed up on the basic. I think they're going to do their basics a lot, and this is not what I want anymore. That is a holdover from Sabine Kron. I think Bam is probably best. I know I put Bam with that dash lineup, and that's why I said it's more expensive. But you're going to take out Lord Vaders like this. Probably not JMK Plo right now, but there's a lot of good stuff you can use them for. And I think you could put them on offense or defense. Defense is more like catching people off guard, but they have really high value on offense as well. Same with Riva. I mean, defense is great, but there's enough specified counters that you might not want to, or you might need them on offense for a specific counter. Grand Inquisitor Kron and Wordy level 6 is going to be great. However, if you do a mirror, so if you want to take Riva against another Riva, I think you try to go without the Wordy level 6. Maybe get a bonus turn for killing someone. Because then if the enemy team has a Wordy level 6, they're just going to cleanse all the time and get Death Mark, and that'll be a lot easier for you. But I don't think it'll be easy overall. Like, it's still going to be a tough battle. But Riva, crazy. Just look out for her. Star Killer. So this is like Malicos. It's kind of a debate for me between the Worry level 6 and the bonus turn. I think both are easily acceptable. Star Killer level 9 is for sure. You want that. It's not like Malicos where you just don't want it. But yeah, I'd be careful going against Ray with Ezra. And you can't do Ray Malik, like Star Killer Malicos anymore if you want Star Killer's Omicron and Malicos' Omicron's active. So who knows? But Star Killer, he's pretty beast right now. So we will see. Gas. So I think a standard gas lineup with all the 501st clones is an option, and it can be annoying, and it's something you can't just waltz over. CLS, I don't know how well CLS is going to do now without their attacker cron in 5v5. Last season, it was easy to walk over. But this is another potential destination for ETH Koth. And then if you run ETH Koth, you want the Jedi cron and use Ahsoka. Even if you don't run ETH Koth, I think you could run Ahsoka if you don't need her for JMK. And then you can have extra Jedi for stuns. Whoa, that was a long scroll. But down here, Malgus, I think he's very valuable. I think you could either go the Tank Revive or the Thick level 3. Tank Revive, I think, is more if you place it on defense, and the thickness for offense, just because when you're taking a team on offense, you're not hoping for one of them to die. It's just on defense, someone's going to take something that will take them out, and that makes it harder. But you could probably beat, I think Riva is still probably something you beat, maybe Malicos. But a lot of good stuff you can beat with Malgus, and it's not like in the past where it was like you have to put it on defense, because a lot of people will just use Sith Eternal and call it a day. Treya still flex. There's not a specific level 6 for them, but the 15% health and protection for Darkside, that's extremely valuable data cron right now, that level 3, and then just extra survivability stats, like maybe a lot of health. I don't know what the plan is going to be for Gungans on defense. Maybe Trey is the go-to right now, but on defense, you can't go wrong either. For Gungans at 5v5, I gave them the flex as opposed to just offense. In 3v3, I want them just offense, but in 5v5, it's kind of like, I'm not sure what their best value is going to be, but it's an easy cookie-cutter team. A lot of people have it now. Jar Jar is back right now, so a lot more people are unlocking Jar Jar. I don't know how they'll do against Balin Skull. I mean, they had a chance in 3v3, but who knows? They're great against Jedi, like Qui-Gon Jinn. But yeah, who knows what we're going to do with them. Moff Gideon, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. So Moff Gideon Kron is great. If you're like me and you have a Relic Night Trooper, I will probably use my Night Trooper with this team instead of TIE Fighter Pilot. or I might use Night Trooper on. I actually, 1 second, I forgot to add a very important team to this list. And there it is, Great Mothers. So I moved all these together to make the mental math a little bit more visual. So Night Trooper and Death Trooper Peridia, they're both Night Sisters and Imperial Remnants. So if you have Great Mothers Relic 7, it's a decision you have to make between Dark Trooper Moff Gideon and Great Mothers. Also, if you don't have Great Mothers Kron, there's much more of an argument for offense. We'll see how they do. Might be taking out JMKs with them, might be taking out something else, but they are crazy overpowered. And on defense, like I said, they might be more susceptible to like Lord Vader. And then Slicker is going to be pretty good. Slicker works against Great Mother Kron, so without that Kron, it's definitely going to be a lot easier for Slicker. So I still have to put it flex, though, because I'm like, on defense, even without Great Mother's Kron, it's still something you really have to account for, and it does draw a GL most of the time, so pretty much every time, so it's crazy. Enoch's the team I have the most trouble like pulling the trigger for, because like with me, I have Night Trooper. I probably want Night Trooper with Great Mothers, and then I don't want to pull away many Imperial Remnant to go with Enoch. Even once I do get him to relics, I'm not done, but so for me, I think the priority is Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, especially with Moff Gideon level 9, and then the Alert level 6, and Buffs level 3, and then Great Mothers. It's, I have like a Morgan Elsbeth Kron. You want a good Night Sister level 6, but it's not going to be like the Whale Kron. So it's tough, but Enoch, the biggest counter to Enoch, I think, is Malgus. So if your opponent sets Malgus on defense, and you have Enoch, maybe that's when you set him. I'm not an expert on how to use them on offense, though, but I think they do have some pretty good play. And then the last two, we have some pretty average teams that have been brought up a couple levels. Radis is a legit bona fide threat on defense, and then on offense, too, super valuable. I'm not sure how he'll do against the Reva Kron, but they do prevent revives on Empire, so they could be just the Kryptonite to Reva, but super strong. On defense, like, it's not just you put bounty hunters and it's easy. Although maybe with Dengar Kron it is easy now. But deciding what to do with the Radis, it's important. I think the best version of it is K2 level 9, Big Wordy level 6 with all the crazy stat boosts, and then Tank Revive. And then Dengar, this is another one that's like, it's flexible how you could use it. I think in 5v5, it's got a lot more potential because you can have Bosk lead, the Omicron from Zam, still have Grief and Mando, and also have Dengar. So I think this is probably the lineup I'd go for. I don't think you want to give up Grief's support qualities or Mando's insta-kill or Zam's Omicron, and then the lead. So if anything, maybe you can play around a different lead instead of Bosk. But Dengar works so well with Bosk, with spamming his bombs. It just heals up the whole team so much because there's so many potential debuffs to get inflicted or resisted. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this works. Now, Aura Singh, I don't know how that would work in practice. So there's Aura Singh Kron, and maybe you run it, and then you have mercenaries on your team. I just don't see a huge applicability for it. It would be a great cleanup team. Aura Singh Kron, you don't need Dengar there. Aura Singh, let me show the Kron I'm talking about. So you can kind of make a loop where if you have this stun level 6, anytime anyone's stunned, Aura takes a turn. So you can get to contract really fast, but maybe that's just kind of like something you do if you're trying to take out Malgus or something. But I don't see them punching, like, and maybe Enoch too. I don't know. They might be a good counter for Enoch. But I think you do get the same thing done with Bosk lead and Dengar Kron because of all the extra turns and kind of a guaranteed AoE to come up over and over again. But who knows? And that is it for the flex teams. There are a lot of them, so it's going to be a lot of choices to make for defense. But hopefully I have made a good case of what each team is useful for. And that will be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this helps. Hope you enjoyed. And even if you are not in Kyber, I hope that it's nice to get an idea of what's out there in the landscape. So yeah, good luck this season, and see you guys next time.